What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel, and we're going to have a reality chat about Jen Shah. Now, I previously just talked about the announcement and the breaking news about how she was arrested on some fraud charges due to some schemes and scams that she and another one of her assistants, Stuart Smith, were arrested for, and it's, an alleged scheme and scam to dupe people who are over a certain age out of money. And that's just like the lowest of the low. The lowest of the low of the low. All right. So it's been reported that she's pretty much a flight risk. So she and her assistant, they both pleaded not guilty on Friday, April the 2nd, to all of the charges in a virtual arraignment. And it was reported that there was just a lot of stuff going on with the arraignment online, because there were a lot of people that were tuned in, where it was even kind of hard for her to get in on this virtual arraignment. So they had to make sure that she was in there, right? But the judge, even though, they pled not guilty and she is who she is, whatever that is, a judge ordered her to put up a $1 million bond. Now that is huge, okay? And we all know that just because the bond is that amount doesn't mean that that is the actual amount that you have to put up. You have to put up a percentage of it, right? And the reason that the amount was so high, and it was a $1 million bond, the judge said, and I quote, "There is a risk of flight here. It's not insubstantial. I'm going to release her on the following conditions. I'm going to require a personal recognizance bond of $1 million. I'm going to require $250,000 to secure that bond in cash or property." And per the judge's order, she has 1 week to comply with that. And both her and her assistant, they're facing up to 50 years in prison. Now that number, that is exceptionally large. Definitely the amount of the bond is exceptionally large. But also the announcement for the amount of years that she and her assistant are facing are substantially large. I doubt that if they're even found guilty, that's what is going to happen. Because when it was announced years ago that Teresa and Joe Giudice, they were arrested and charged with a number of different things, it was around the same amount of years that they were facing. And they didn't get anything close to that. Nothing close to it. So we'll see what happens. One, she's just been charged, even though that's huge and that's major. She hasn't been found guilty, but I talked about this in another video where I stated that I'm just wondering if Andy Cohen knew what was up. Because the question that he asked her at the reunion about how does she make her money, like what does she do? And the answer that she gave, it was very weird, very vague and very weird, but I digress. It was just something that left you scratching your head and wondering, I wonder how much Andy Cohen really knew. Now, I'm not saying that Andy Cohen knew that she was into fraudulent dealings when she was announced to be on the show, but I do believe that as things were being filmed, news started circulating about, possible investigations into her and her business dealings. And, the optics were horrible because your husband is an assistant coach. I believe he's an assistant coach or scout, whatever his title is. But I'm not saying he makes a little bit of money, but for the life and the lifestyle that she was showing to us that she was living, it was like, girl, where are you getting this money from? How are you living this life? Did you come from a rich family? Did you have an inheritance that you're living off of? Did you find some treasures somewhere and you're living off of it? Did you win the lottery at some point? Like, what is it that you have or have acquired that has allowed you to live the lifestyle that you're living? Because if you guys don't remember, when she was wilding out, like she was wilding out during the majority of this season and just blowing things over the top and out of proportion, when she was wilding out at Whitney's party that she had, it was the speakeasy theme party, and her just how she was acting, they had to call for her husband to come and pick her up. She had too much to drink, and they were just like, you need to go home. We need to get you out of here. He came and picked her up in a very old Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, listen, I'm not saying that people who are very wealthy don't drive older, used vehicles. A lot of times it's smart. Not everybody is driving a Rolls Royce and a Lambo and a Bentley who has money, but it just, the optics of how he was living versus how she was living, because he was hardly ever there and she had 7 or 8 or 15 assistants, it just was very weird. Like, what are you doing? What is your career? What type of lifestyle do you have that, one, you need to have that many assistants and you can afford to have that many assistants? It just didn't make any sense. So I did, ask that question. I was wondering, how much did Andy really know? Well, somebody was asked the question about this, because people are wondering, well, if you were into a life of illegal dealings or fraudulent things, or even things that are unethical, even though these things that she is being alleged doing are illegal, but even if you're doing a lot of unethical things, but definitely doing illegal things, what would prompt you to become someone who is on a reality show that's going to get millions upon millions of views, right? A lot of people are asking that. Why did she sign up to put the intimate details of her life on display for the world to see when she is allegedly committing crimes? So a researcher had commented on this, and quote, and her name is Christelle Antonia Russell. She's a researcher at the intersection of entertainment and marketing at the Pepperdine Graziadio Business School. And she says, fame is either something that you acquire because of hard work, because of your accomplishments, or it's something that you seek. You want to be famous. Sometimes being famous to the point of being infamous. She just seeks that people know her and that she's out there and people recognize her when they see her and they know her name. And maybe that desire to be known comes at the cost of what you're known for. She probably doesn't care what people will think of her. And someone else named Pamela Rutledge, she's a director of the Media Psychology Research Center. She told Yahoo Life that Jen's desire to be a reality television star and her ability to scam so much money out of innocent people are likely aligned. She says, the most successful con artists have 3 similar personality characteristics known as the dark triad that increase their ability to persuade: psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism. Narcissism is associated with a sense of superiority and entitlement, ego gratification. Machiavellianism is associated with manipulation and a focus on self-interest and personal gain. And psychopathy is a measure of impulsive and antisocial tendencies. All traits lead to motivations to act out of self-interest with a lack of empathy and remorse. Now, when I tell you that all of these statements ring so true about this chick, if you watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and you just watch her actions and her interactions with other people, she is just, everything is about her. Everything is about her. Everything is about her. She turns every situation into something to be about her and blows it over the top. Now, I don't know if she's guilty or not. None of us really do, but she's definitely been charged with these things. And I highly doubt that she's 100% innocent. I don't know if she's 100% guilty, but I don't even know if, and don't take this the wrong way. And hey, if you do, you do. I don't even know if like she's the mastermind. And I just simply say that because it just doesn't make sense that she would be the mastermind behind this based on how clueless she kind of is. But hey, that's just my opinion. But clearly all of the characteristic traits that they have just spoken out about her, she has displayed. And I've spoken about this the few times that I've talked about her in the show. The show, even though I watched it and she got on my nerves, and even Mary, the one who's married to her step grandfather, did some questionable things or said some questionable things or definitely wore some questionable things. I just really couldn't be bothered to talk about it too much because it was just really draining. But to have all of this stuff come out about her after the very first season is crazy. All of the stuff that came out about Erica Girardi and her husband didn't come out, right after the first season she was on the show. So that just goes to show you that this woman, she clearly has a lot of issues and possibly a very uphill battle. The fact that the judge said that, yeah, she's a flight risk. We need to make sure that we got some property, we got some funds on deck to make sure we hold her accountable for keeping her ass in place so we know where she is at all times. We're just not going to put an ankle monitor on her. It's just like, wow, you really are a fraud. Again, I don't know if she's 100% guilty about this situation, but in terms of the lifestyle that she was showing us, it was fraudulent. But really, guys, I just want to know what you guys think about all of this. So let me know. And thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest.